Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking about addiction and recovery. Every time we have our friends from SOBA, Texas on this show, we hear from you, our San Antonio Living viewers, that we have helped someone. So this is why we continue to do it here on the show. Joining us, you know, Greg Hanley, CEO of SOBA, Texas, Alex Dragici, Director of Operations, and sitting in the spot of actor Daniel Baldwin this morning, actor-comedian Andy Dick. It's nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah?
Good, thanks.
Boy, you sure bring in some good guests for us every now and then. I love it. You know, it's so great to get the word out and just kind of talk about addiction and recovery, because I think it helps our viewers see that it happens to anybody and anyone can deal with it. You know? Andy, let's start with you over there in the hot seat this morning. Tell me about your journey and why you're talking about it this morning with us.
Greg dragged my butt down here. No. Let's see. My journey. Do you have 49 years?
Right? You can pick your favorite spot in this journey, which is probably the time right now.
Well, I've been to many rehabs, and I've you know, if people don't know that, you know, that addiction is a struggle, then they don't know addiction, because especially when it went with me, people think that I take it lightly or that I don't try, but it's, you know, if I didn't try, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, well, anyways, yeah. I could go on and on and on about.
Yeah. You know, but I think it's good to hear from you, because like other people we've talked to, you've been through several different rehab centers and you're finding success where you are now, and you are on a great journey, and congratulations on every day that you make it each day, because now you're part of these guys' clubhouse. We talk about this all the time. You've inducted Andy into your clubhouse. How important is that on the journey to have people who stand up for you and back you up, Andy?
100% important.
Yeah.
The thing is that you've got to back yourself up. If you don't want it and you don't care about yourself, no one else will. I got to a point in my life where nobody was there for me, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
You know, rightfully so. My exes, even my kids, the people I was going out with currently, and honestly, I mean, one of my exes was kind of there towards the end because I have kids with her. But this guy here, Greg, was one of the only, if not the, I'm talking about, I got to a bad place where I'm crawling on the floor trying to call 911, and they just said call a hospital and get yourself in there, and I can't even dial the phone. And when I would call up the different rehabs in town, they knew it was me because I would say my name, and they would say, "Oh no, our beds are full," because I had painted myself, into that kind of corner where nobody would accept me, and Greg was the only one who saw something in me that I didn't even see anymore. Just a little bit of a spark that he's like, this guy, he has another shot.
It can get bad, and I think people watching, you know, it doesn't just happen to celebrities. There are people right here in San Antonio who have had those kinds of bad days, bad nights, waking up the next day not remembering what you did the night before. There's help for those people here in San Antonio, Greg.
Well, yes, there is. And SOBA, Texas has become a really premier treatment center. The staff and the people out there, and the difference, what I tell people is, the difference is that it's harder for me to get people to leave than it is to get them to stay.
Yeah.
And
and it's like,
why leave?
Why? It's fun here, right?
If it ain't broke.
Yeah, they're very well cared for. They and they know the people that are working with them in every aspect of the treatment. They actually care about their success, and we don't give up on people. You know, it's I say that we don't shoot our wounded, and so for somebody to call and say I need help, and them to go, you can't get it. It was weird when, and actually, there was another call. A doctor friend also called and said, look, you need to help him. And we would have found a spot wherever it was going to be. Somebody calls and we want to figure out a way to get them help somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing.
So Alex, I know you take a lot of the phone calls and you're hearing from people here in San Antonio who need help. You've got a lot of different things going on in San Antonio. What kind of information do people need to have ready when they call trying to get into SOBA?
Just be able to have an open conversation.
Okay.
Don't have anxiety about making the phone call. Don't think that this is something you can put off. If there's something going on with a family member or a loved one, treat it as an emergency and pick up the phone. A phone call is free. It doesn't cost anything. You might get some advice and you'll instantly get that relief that, oh my God, I might actually have somebody who cares and who's listening and will help with a 1, 2, 3, 4 step what to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
very important stuff. You guys are the most caring people, and I've really gotten to know you over the past year as we've been doing these segments, and I can vouch for you. Absolutely. You guys are doing great things here in San Antonio and around the country. There are several SOBA locations. Here's the deal, guys. We're going to keep everybody here. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got more from our panel with SOBA Texas on addiction and recovery. And I know you're wondering, where in the world is actor Daniel Baldwin? He's usually here with us. Has Andy taken his spot on the couch? Well, maybe. Never fear. Daniel is weighing in from abroad. Hear what he has to say coming up. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. Thanks for spending time with us this morning. We're talking about addiction and recovery with the team from SOBA Texas. Of course, you know Greg Hanley, Alex Dragici, and joining us also actor, comedian Andy Dick, who was actually featured on the cover of Recovery Today, which is a magazine put out by Greg and the team at SOBA. Just being is sort of like a frank interview. You can actually listen to it online as well. Just really talking about the struggle and, you know, trying to live a sober lifestyle. And we're going to talk with Andy in just a second, but you probably noticed someone is missing from the couch this morning. Actor Daniel Baldwin has been with us for over a year, and although he is not here today, he did weigh in from overseas. He sent us this video clip. Take a look.
Hi guys, how are you? As you know, I'm in London right now shooting Celebrity Big Brother UK, so I'm locked off in the house, but I did get permission to send you guys this video. I was here for 2 weeks before I went in, and I did a lot of speaking with celebrities, politicians, and just people on the street about drugs and alcohol here in the UK. Unlike in the States, they have not really experienced the heroin epidemic as we have in America. But one of the things that I have found is the pill problem here is off the charts. Prescription medications, particularly Oxycontin, and a lot of the heroin-related opiate family stuff is running rampant in the UK.
It's interesting to see what is going on over there versus here. Not a lot of heroin problems in the UK, but a huge problem with
I
pills.
think that's because Russell Brand got sober.
Yeah, he's leading the charge, right?
Is that why?
It's interesting because Daniel's with us all the time. Andy is here today, and we see a lot of celebrities going through rehab. And you know, every now and then I wish, man, I wish I was a celebrity, right? Do you ever wish that you weren't a celebrity going through rehab?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
We went to Rome recently to shoot Zoolander 2. Just a little tiny little part.
Are you in that?
Yeah, just tiny. But walking around Rome, people don't know who I am, and my first thought is, why are they not looking at me? You know, like that. And then the second thought is, oh, thank God they're not looking at me. I can kind of, and then you reset back to just being a normal person. But also the thing about being a celebrity and being in recovery is whenever I start again and I'm sober and I shout it from the mountaintops like I'm doing now, 9 months.
Yeah.
Which, where's my applause for that?
I know, 9 months. That's awesome.
No,
big applause,
but the thing is, I try not to even talk about my time because I don't want to slip, fall off the wagon, and then say, now I've got 1 day, you know, but this feels good this time. With this support, these guys, like Greg said, it's hard for him to get me or anyone to leave because you feel very, very taken care of.
Yeah.
At SOBA.
Let me ask you this. You know, anyone who knows Andy Dick knows about your past. You read about you, and I see a completely different person sitting here right now.
Thanks.
One of the hardest things for an addict, someone going through recovery, is dealing with the stuff they did when they were messed up, right? What words of inspiration could you give to our viewers who might be dealing with that kind of situation?
That's good because you're right. I can't walk into a room without just a thin veil, sometimes thick as Vaseline, of like guilt and shame. Like I just think everyone's looking at me, oh, that guy. You know, like that, because of things I've done when I was messed up. But honestly, you can turn things around. And I have this, you know, that turn on a dime. You can just, all you need to do is just put the drink down, put the drug down, and move forward. And things get very good exponentially. Not just, you think in increments, but no, it doubles and then quadruples, and then it's like greater and greater and greater, and things just, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And everything, no matter how low I went, all that stuff, other people have been through that, and I can help them get out of that and get to the other
That's the
side.
living the dream and giving the dream.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, and
You
he
guys
has a
are
voice.
giving the dream. at SOBA.
He's got a strong voice.
Celebrities that they're starting to talk about their recovery, and they get a voice. And this can't be a dirty secret in a church basement anymore. We've got to talk about it because young people, the stigma needs to get removed about being in recovery. The stigma of being on drugs, it's not a bad person problem. It's just a problem. And nobody wants to have this happen. Nobody wants to have it happen in their family or be in their life. It just, you know, and there's things out there today that young people are getting introduced to that they can't grow out of.
Yeah.
And
there's no turning back on it. And it's back to what we were just talking about and what Daniel was talking about, that there's prescription drugs over there. Well, it's what we were all talking about before coming on the show. The CDC saying 75% of heroin addicts started with prescription pills.
there's plenty of heroin over there too, but they're just not talking
They're
about
not talking about it.
And once they try to get ahead, and Daniel said that it's easier for the doctors just to give the pills and move beyond than try to treat it. And it is, and a lot of something that happened here is they made it really hard for people on painkillers to go to multiple doctors, and so the addicts now are turning to heroin. All the pill people, I'm seeing,
And they raise the prices
45,
and
50-year-old
insurances.
people who've been on pills for a long time.
Switch to heroin.
Boom, they're on heroin because they're, they don't know what to do.
Well, here's the thing. You do know what to do because we've got a facility that's in the Texas Hill Country with years of experience behind it. It's SOBA, Texas, and we've got more when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We are talking with our friends from SOBA, Texas. Greg Hanley is here. We've been chatting with actor and comedian Andy Dick, and then look who showed up. This is his son,
Howdy.
Jacob. Thank you for coming.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Is this hard for you, like hearing us talk about things that went on with your dad?
No.
No?
It's really good that he's doing good, but it's better than how it was before, so
Okay.
it's actually really nice to hear that he's doing well.
Are you
reassuring.
in recovery as well?
I am.
Okay.
I have a year. I got my year on August 4th.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
and round of applause right here.
Can we talk? Would it be okay if we talked about your drugs and all that?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Okay. How did you get started?
The thing is that he, while I was having this run of drinking, we found out that Jacob was doing harder core drugs, like you were talking about. He wasn't doing heroin, but
Just as bad. Meth.
Was it easy for you to get? I have young kids. Well, I mean, they're close to your age, so I
these drugs are so easy to get. And
Ay.
I'll tell you what, if these drugs were around when I started my drinking career at age 14, I wouldn't have made it to 20, which he's 20. And people have to clamp it off, like now.
Yeah.
It's life or death. I see, a friend of mine died last week. I mean, people are just dropping like flies. But with him, I couldn't believe he was, can I say this? Well,
I think I can.
Yeah.
he was smoking meth. And I'm like, what? That kid has a problem.
So,
You know, and then he went into recovery. I'm like, what? Good for him.
right, so he was in recovery first.
Yeah. So he was in recovery first, and I was at the place where I'm like, you know, I tried recovery. Remember the first, second, third, all the way to 20 times. I've done this thing, and I'm like, just let me just drink. I might be drinking myself to death. So be it. But then after 3 months of him in SOBA, I'm like, because I thought he was like, he had 1 foot in the grave. I'm not kidding. He was 5150. That means you're tied up, brought to a mental place, and
wow.
I thought, okay, well, no hope. And then 3 months in, I said, you know what? And I felt like an a-hole with the drink, going good, and I put it down, and I went in and followed his path, and we literally are now roommates at SOBA. Roommates.
I love that.
I mean, that's not the best.
Is Dad
you know.
clean? I mean, does he keep the room clean?
I'm the
No, he doesn't.
I don't.
Jacob, let me ask you this because, you know, I mentioned this. I've got kids, and it is my life's goal to prevent them from going down that path. Being a realist, I know it's out there, right? What can parents do? Is there a secret that I need to know to keep my kids from getting to that spot that you got to?
It's a very good question, and I think it's like a double-edged sword because I was personally given the ability to be free and kind of do whatever you want and let his theory was the world's going to teach me. And it kind of worked out, I guess. I mean, I'm doing good now. But I've also seen it on the reverse side where the parents are very strict and they shelter them, and then the kids end up going out and having like the hurrah once they're finally free or whatever. So as a tip, that's hard. I know for a fact I'm not ready to parent. So I mean, I guess every person has their own path, and I don't think you can really. There's nothing you can do to.
Yeah.
To keep them from experiencing what they're going to experience. Just hope they get it, really.
Yeah.
Or
It's
don't
great.
get
It really is great advice, you know, and as a parent, we all have those different styles, and I'm like this. What do? Do I tie them down? Do I let them go out? What is it? And you're always afraid to make that wrong choice.
I'm going to say possibly just be like what Greg was saying, not to push it under the rug, but let people know that this is a major problem.
Yeah.
And Greg would probably say that if you've got that gene, which I guess Jacob has, I have, they say it could be a gene.
Yeah.
And if you have that predilection, is that the word, to drink heavily or use drugs heavily, then you've just got to watch out and let your kids know now. Just like I could tell that my daughter is an alcoholic because she used to love spinning around and then getting all dizzy. She's like, that's fun, and do it again. And like, there's signs.
Watch for the signs. Spinning is
Talk
definitely one of
about
them.
how my son made it through high school. He's going to college, and we've been talking about it since he was young. And he used to tell his buddies that I drug tested him, which I didn't, so he had kind of an out for to not look like the outcast guy, like, what? My dad drug tests me. He owns a rehab. You kidding me? And then he'd come home sober and clean, and had a very good experience in high school. Never got in
But he
trouble.
didn't drug test him. He just said that.
I might be
That's
using
such a
that
good
one.
idea.
Yeah.
That
Maybe
is a
you can
good
hire
one.
me on the site. I work with SOBA Texas children.
But talk to them. Talk to them, and if you think they have a problem, or if you think they're doing something, they are. But find out what it is. Actually go to the drugstore, get a drug test, and take a look at it, because so many parents that come to me think their kids are smoking pot or drinking a little, and they find they're on like a huge amount of stuff.
And that was another thing with Jacob is I kept saying there's something's off. He is not Jacob anymore.
Yeah.
And my ex said, well, I think he's just a teenager. And because I was a little bit in a fog because I was drinking, I'm like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem right. And we should have drug tested him.
Well, you're here. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Got a year of recovery. Yeah, Dad's right behind you. I'm so excited for your guys' future. You know, I really
Thank
am.
you.
I can see a lot of happiness and excitement coming from you. So looking forward to what's to come for you. Stick around, guys. We've got more with SOBA Texas. Numbers on. Had a great conversation this morning. If you missed any part of it, it'll be online a little bit later on. Alex, if people need help.
It starts with the phone call. It absolutely starts the phone call. Know that we have the most amazing staff that cares. They won't judge. They'll be able to talk to you. And that's one of the things I wanted to say. I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing staff that we have.
All right.
Had a rough week, but we're going to let Jacob
Yes, Andy,
close it.
thank you for coming.
Thank
Jacob,
you.
20 years old,
You're so
a year of
nice.
recovery. What are your words to the kids out there?
Catch this thing while you still can, and there's nothing better than living the life you've always imagined.
Very
So,
good. Thank you guys
thank
so
you for
much
being here.
today.
Thank you.
We've hoped that we've helped you. We'll see you next time here on San Antonio Living. Bye.